Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be bonkers, you guys. It's will skyrocketing rates crash the housing market? So essentially what we're going to do today is kind of just analyze whether or not skyrocketing interest rates alone will crash the housing market. Now, as you guys know, interest rates have surged more rapidly than they have in decades and decades of mortgage. So essentially what that has done is crippled so many people's purchasing power. And in my opinion, especially those first-time home buyers or those home buyers that barely qualified for a loan based on debt-to-income ratio restrictions. So again, the question is, will surging, skyrocketing, whatever you want to call it, interest rates, is that enough to crash the housing market alone? And I don't think it is. But is it enough to cool the housing market alone? I think so. But I also think in order for there to be a crash, more factors need to play out, and actually already are playing out, like inflation, a recession, and also we're going to need more inventory before anything happens significant. So essentially, guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to analyze a video that I found from Yahoo News that is basically going to go over some of the things that we talk about. And I think it's important on my channel to not just get my opinion, but for me to basically introduce the opinions of others, whether they agree with me or not, because quite frankly, no one knows what's really going to happen. Now, I am certain there's going to be a housing market crash, and I believe that crash is going to start this year. And I also believe that if you're patient, you're going to be a winner on the other side of this. But right now, the market is just way too crazy. So other than that, guys, we're gonna go into this video right now. Now, before I continue, just remember, I have to say this. I am not a financial advisor. I have to say that, you guys. I'm a YouTuber. I'm an opinion sharer, also a realtor in Houston, also a residential mortgage loan officer in Texas, a CE provider of education for the state of Texas as well. But if you guys can, do me a favor, like this video if you can, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and comment in the comment section. You guys have no idea how much your comments help me and help other people. Remember that, all right? So I want you guys to keep commenting your insights. Now, let's get started on this video right now.
Are rising at their fastest pace in decades. Just last year, rates were at historic lows, just 2.65% for a 30-year fixed mortgage. Now, over 5%. But we wanted to know, will that be enough to cool down the housing market? WBZ's Tiffany Chan joins us live in studio with some answers. Tiffany?
You guys, it's really important to remember that even though interest rates are in the 5% now, which I can pretty much assure you they're in the 5%, Fred Economic Data is going to update their graph today. I'll do another video on that just to see what the conservative average 30-year fixed rate is. But remember, guys, 5% historically is actually not high. The rates, even though they're in the fives right now, for the most part, that's not high. That's just going back to pre-pandemic. Remember that. So, you know, a lot of the fear of missing out, a lot of the fear in the market, I believe, is misplaced. The biggest problem with the rates right now is the massive surge, right? There was essentially a surge and no smooth transition. And that is the real problem. That's why the rug pull effect is going on, or the whiplash effect, because again, there was essentially almost no warning, although I was kind of aware, but I didn't realize that the mortgage interest rates would surge so rapidly, because again, the Federal Reserve only lifted the discount rate or the federal funds rate 25 basis points, yet interest rates are continuing to surge. So, you know, I just want you guys to remember that not everything is lost. A lot of people just got used to very cheap money because of COVID. It's not real, right? That's not the situation that we're in a normal marketplace. A normal marketplace, usually the rates were sitting at anywhere from 4% to 5%. So we're just going back to normal, guys. Remember that. People got used to easy money. People got used to free money. People got used to very cheap money. That's all changing. It's going back to normal. So let's continue on with this video right now.
Lisa, with many single family homes going thousands over asking price now, along with mortgage rates going up, it may have you questioning whether now is the right time to buy. Like just about everything else, the cost to finance a home is going up.
So it's obviously it has a lot to do with inflation. Inflation as mortgage is more the mortgage rates worse enemy.
And it reached the highest point in more than a decade. The mortgage rate for a 30-year fixed home loan topped 5%, up from under 3% just last year. And if you plug in the numbers, IND Mortgage's Dick Lee says the average borrower will be paying significantly more.
On average, yeah, I would say it's at least $400 to $500 difference for the average monthly. Yeah, average. When you think about the average home sales price in Boston,
not ideal for those looking to buy, but
You guys, there's some reality right there. $400 to $500 more a month is a lot of money. Now, I have three. I'm not rich. Okay, I have 3 children at home, all very young children. $400 to $500 increase in my monthly overhead is a lot of money. So we got to remember that. Again, we got to try to erase from our memory, which is super hard. I get that. All of the stuff that happened through COVID, all we're doing is going back to normal, and people are freaking out when they shouldn't be freaking out. The dust needs to settle. The fear needs to stop. But, going back to the point of this is I still don't think that rates alone, okay, so I'm just saying rates alone, I don't think that's enough to crash the market. I think the rate surging like this is enough to at least cool the market. I don't think that, moving on from basically Q1 of 2022, moving on throughout this year, I think that the multiple offer situation and going over asking price, I think a lot of that is going to start fizzling out and the market's going to return back to normal. But remember, we're just talking about interest rates. There are also other factors that I'm not really going into that I believe are going to lead to a housing market crash. But in this video, we're not going to talk about that. We're strictly talking about interest rates, essentially rug pulling affordability and what that really means. Because remember this, you guys, school loans haven't started. EIDL loans haven't started. The food scarcity thing hasn't started. And property taxes really haven't gone up for 2022 yet. So there's a lot of things on the horizon that are fixing actually to make it more expensive to live. I think the really big problem right now, as far as affordability is, because the interest rates surge like this, not really a transition, a surge, it just seems like everything is more expensive, even though the rates are designed to push down inflation. So listen to what I'm saying, you guys. The rates going up like this is actually a really good thing, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. It may not seem like that right now, but I can tell you from my own experience, real estate doesn't always just go up. There are many periods throughout the history of the housing market where home prices have actually adjusted downwards and corrected. So at the very least, we should have a correction. Although, again, I believe that we're going to have a crash. But what I am really pointing out right now is affordability is under attack in so many different ways. It seems like everything's inflated. Anyways, let's continue on with the video right now.
But Boston College economics professor Bob Murphy believes this could lead to a much needed cool down in a crazy real estate market.
If it does cool the market a bit and provides maybe a little more sanity to the home purchase process, it could be, I think, a good thing for some home buyers who, want to take their time and have the resources now to pay a bit higher mortgage interest rate.
So you guys, it should be a good thing for a lot of people as long as you have the right mindset, as long as you understand what's going on and you're not one of these buyers necessarily that is just throwing money, at a situation because you're investing out of fear. We don't want people investing out of fear. That's usually a really big recipe for bad things to happen. Okay. But, I like kind of, what he's pointing out. I do believe this interest rate surge, it is definitely going to cool the emotion in the market. It's going to cool the fear of missing out in the market. So again, overall good. Now, remember this, in May and in June, the Federal Reserve is set to increase the federal funds rate or discount rate 50 basis points in May and 50 basis points in June. And I believe essentially that's going to be the catalyst that's going to lead to a lot more severe factors that, again, is going to potentially pop this real estate bubble instead of maybe a more moderate correction, which, I kind of want to do a poll with you guys because, people have definition of what a housing market crash is versus what a housing market correction is. So that's a video for another time, but let's continue on with this video right now.
Don't foresee it cooling down in the immediate future.
One realtor says time will tell whether higher interest rates will affect people's willingness to buy, but we're not quite there yet.
But I do believe it will influence people's buying power for sure. And that may trickle down, and instead of getting 30 offers on a house, maybe we'll get down to the 15.
And that's why I'm always telling you guys to stay patient because of the time it's going to take. Now, here's one of the issues that I see with the interest rates going up like this. Usually what that's going to do is it's going to kind of cripple the purchasing power from the bottom up, right? So for the first time home buyers or for the home buyers that barely qualified because of debt to income ratio, unfortunately, those are the people, in my opinion, that are going to get hit right away. They're going to be taken out of the market first. And that's kind of a bummer. And then essentially what happens is it works up to mom and pop investors, institutional investors, let's say, but it's always going to start from the bottom up. That's why, I'm always saying there's pain fixing to come because most people start from the bottom and move up. So this is not, I don't see this as really going to help, stop a lot of the investor demand. I think really the equity not surging is what's going to stop the investor demand predominantly. But I can kind of tell you guys that if we're not preparing ourselves for the other side of this housing market, like credit, saving money, being patient, having the right mindset, I really truly believe that the investors are going to take over our housing market and they're going to scoop up a whole bunch of deals that me and you could be scooping up. Me and you can be going after, those houses. But again, if we don't prepare, our dream home may be taken by an institutional investor, and we don't want that to happen. Let's continue the video.
Financing their homes. That mortgage expert says the market is so hot right now, it hasn't stopped many from taking out a loan. Lisa, David.
All right,
Wow.
Tiffany, thank you. But that is a lot more per month.
Yeah, you feel like if people are paying $400 or $500 more for
Right.
the same mortgage that they were paying for last year, that maybe it'll slow things down. But as Tiffany says, people are so desperate right now, they're still buying.
And not a lot of inventory on the market.
You guys, it is a fact that we are going to need more inventory. If things are really going to transition back into a buyer's market, maybe we're not going to need the same amount of inventory we had before the pandemic. I don't think we're going to need that much inventory, but the fact is we're going to need inventory for things to balance out. And right now, currently today, the market is still super hot. It is still very, very toxic. If you're a buyer, if you're a seller, I still say there's never been a better time to sell. And you don't even have to buy right away. You can sell and then rent. A lot of people are actually doing that. And I actually commend those people because especially if you've owned a house already, no one wants to rent. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm renting and I know I'm wasting my money. I know I'm throwing it away. But again, it gives me the ability to be free and it gives me the ability to make sure I don't get trapped in my house upside down. But again, you guys, I just really want to point out that the interest rates alone, I don't believe is enough to crash the market. I believe the other factors need to continue to play out, inflation, recession, and things of that nature. So, other than that, guys, all I'm saying is don't freak out. Don't go rush out and buy. The rates are just going back to normal. There's no emergency here right now. And in fact, I believe the longer that you wait, the more inventory options you may have and the more likely it is that you're actually going to get a house of your dreams. Now, as always, you guys, I just want to say I really appreciate all my subscribers. I really appreciate everyone commenting. Now, you guys should know my opinion. I'm just going to throw it out there real quick because I believe it's really positive. Now, my opinion is this, is as you're waiting, as you're staying patient, number one, love your life, love your family, okay? Monitor your budget, trim your budget expenses, and save your money. Build your credit worthiness by getting out of consumer debt, having super low utilization ratio on your credit cards, okay? And stay patient, okay? Keep learning, keep educating yourself, keep watching the market. And then one more thing, because of a potential recession in the horizon, try to work on other sources of income. We're in a society today where there's so many different ways to make money. And I would suggest that you guys, if you're struggling and if you can, not everyone can because of children and things like that, or taking care of people, but get some more sources of income. Work like crazy right now. Just just try to outwork everyone and just stack your money and empower yourself. But anyways, you guys, if you're out there investing or you want to invest in the future, I wish you luck and I hope you win.